Right guys, it's absolutely lashing it down today, so no fishing. So I thought I'd do a lot of prepping, so I have loads of rigs to tie up. So I thought I'd quickly go through 2 essential rigs with you, and the little bits and bobs you're going to need, and how I actually do it. So without further ado, let's crack on. Let's crack on. Right guys, so the first one is going to be a simple bulk and 2 droppers. Everyone should really have this in the box. The key is stability. You want to get your bait down to the bottom as quick as possible, and then you used to have your droppers just bringing it in nice and slowly. So for this one, I use a Preston Diamond. I'll go anywhere between probably a 4x14 to a 4x18. It all depends on your actual depth, obviously. So for a 4x14, I'd probably fish this up to a maximum of around about 6 foot. Yeah, probably say between 4 and 6 feet, which for most commercials, it's pretty much bob on, to be honest. So I'll quickly go through a few little bits you're going to need. So the obvious one, your actual pole float. Your pole rubbers, which I just use the Preston ones. Loads of different sizes, makes it a lot easier. I use Stots, again pure and simply just for ease. Even at this age, my eyesight isn't the greatest, and they are so much easier to put on and take off. And I'll show you a little bit later how you can actually move them as well. A good sharp pair of scissors, and for your loops, especially your mainline loop, I use a loop sizer. I also use a loop tire, but that's to actually attach it to Dacron, but I'll show you that a little bit later. So first things first, let's thread the actual float on. I'll try and do this as quick but as detailed as possible. Whoops. See what I mean about my eyesight? I can't even see where the loop is. Fantastic floats these. Line actually passes through the body to stop any kind of damage to the body. Whoops, I've looped that round. Perfect. Pull it down. Right. Then you want to thread your little silicone tubing on. I use 3 for this one. Whoops. Now, the top 2 I cut slightly smaller, and the third one is slightly longer, which I'll show you that once I've actually got the float on. The rain is absolutely lashing it down out there. You won't think it was the middle of July. Right, so pole rubbers on. So now just carefully thread them on. You can actually wet the line at this point as well, because you don't want to damage your line straight away. Push your first one up if we can do this. That's better. So your first one, I literally have half and half just between the actual glass fibre and the body of the float. Your next one, pretty much dead centre. And then your last one, like I say, I cut this a little bit longer, because all I do is put it on around about maybe 3/4 of the way, just so if you can see that you get a little bit of play in the rubber on the end. Makes it a lot easier when you're actually playing a fish, because you don't want to damage your stem or anything. Right, let's push that up out the way and wet the line a little bit. Push it up out the way. Right, so now for your actual loop to attach your hook length, all I do is tie a figure of 8, if I can actually do it. There, don't let go. Perfect. Then I like in this one a 12mm loop. There is a video on the channel already on how to use one of these little loop sizes. Wet it, pull and tighten off, then trim the tag end off. Now you do want a decent sized loop, especially if you're using bait bands or stoppers or out like that, because you actually want it to pass through that loop. Right, let's just put a bit of tension on the line, 2 seconds. I'm using my little homemade rig mate here. Move that one out of the way. Right, so this one is a 4x14 as I said earlier, so the droppers I'll do in 10s and the bulk I'll do in 9s. If it were a 4x16, I'd do the drops in 9s and the bulk in 8s, so on and so forth. So the first one, let's get the 10s out. So we're going to need 3 number 10s. Whoops, as long as I don't drop them all over the place. Get a little starting tool, make it a hell of a lot easier again. So the first one, literally just above the actual loop knot. I like to take a little bit of care on this just to make it look nice. Your next one, I do around about 6 inch. Try and get it nice again. And your last dropper, whoops, out of the way. That's better. If I can actually get it the right way. I do around about 30 centimeters or 12 inch. So that's your actual droppers, and then from there I'd literally start the bulk just past it. So literally probably on the actual 12 inch mark. Obviously with a bulk and droppers you don't need to be too precise. Say number 9s with it being a 4x14, so I'll probably be putting say 6 on. You kind of get a gist of how many shots it's actually going to take, but you can fine tune it, especially with stocks. They're so much easier to put on than shots. You don't get them popping off or all like that, and like say you can move them, so it does make it a lot easier. I know a lot of the matchmen out there will be cursing, because when you are playing a fish they do move, but it's not very difficult. I'm not a massive match angler, I'm mainly a pleasure angler, so I'm not really too fussed about having to take, you know, 30 seconds to move a couple of shots. A couple of stocks, sorry. Whereas it is an absolute pain if you're using, say, number 11s and you're having to reshot your line every 2 minutes. Anyway, back to the point. So your bulk is literally going to start, that's it, on your 12 inch mark there or thereabouts. You don't want too big a space in between each shot. Maybe say maximum around about 1 mil, because you do want this to get down there as quick as possible, and your droppers, like I say, to slowly bring it in for you. Once I've done this, I'll quickly touch on the actual float choice, because it's mainly the actual stem and the bristle size I use for these ones, but I am actually trying out the new Preston Carp XS floats, so I might even be changing my mind on them. Right, so as you can see, you've got your bulk 6 number 9s and a little number 10. Number 10 at 6 inch and a number 10 directly on the actual knot itself. Yeah, so the Preston diamond float, glass fibre stem, makes it a hell of a lot more stable. You normally find, especially your match anglers, their rule of thumb is glass fibre in summer, carbon and wire, or the Preston night eye wire in winter, because you don't really need your float to follow your bait down. You want to get it down there as quick as possible into the kill zone, let's say, and try and get them fish as quick as possible, especially when you're going for your carp. Obviously during winter, all your roach and all that kind of stuff, you want to be fishing through the water, but that's absolutely perfect for getting you out there in summer and getting your fish. And that's it. First one done, bulk and 2 droppers. Perfect for bottom fishing. Why did I say that? That's obvious. Let's move on to the next one. Hey guys, sorry for the quick break in play. I just wanted to say, please, please, please smash that like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more of my videos. Thanks very much. Right, and now for my favourite method of fishing, margins. Just take the rubbers off of this one for now. Again, another super simple rig. Absolutely love margin fishing. This one is really good for when you're really tight up against the bank. Literally, if you've got your actual bank like that, you want to be as close in as possible so nothing can get behind. That's how this rig works best, like up against your mud lines on your far bank or anything like that. So again, without further ado, let's start this one. So thread your float onto the line. Again, with these edge floats, the actual line passes through the body again, because if you catch an absolute monster in the margins, you don't want any damage to the body of your floats. Perfect. Again, glass fibre stem on this one. And again, with the rubbers, 2 small and 1 slightly bigger. Whoops. I don't know if I can actually see. First one. And obviously, if you've been pole fishing for a long time and making rigs, I'm not going to be teaching you anything new. This is really for you newcomers, which hopefully there's a lot of. It's a fantastic sport to get into, even if you don't want to match fish, just fishing in general. I've been doing it for donkey's years. My dad used to take me on rivers when you used to go float fishing for trout and feeder fishing and all that kind of stuff from River Air and River Wharf. Right, wet your line again and just pull this one up out of there. Tie your loop again. So this one is super simple, but possibly the most fun. I absolutely love margin fishing. I always have for some reason. 12mm loop again, because odds are with this one you will be using a band. Although it is perfect for stuff like corn and all that kind of stuff again in margins. Right. Cut off your tag end. I don't know if I'm getting too far away from the camera. You might not have actually seen any of this. Put a little loop over the top of that. There's already quite a bit of tension in that, but let me just tighten it ever so slightly more. Perfect. Apologies, there's a bit of a change in camera angle. The camera fell. Not everything's going to go right on this. Right. So where are we? So pressing edge 4x12. So with it being a 4x12, even in the margins, I'm going to use number 10s. So this being a 4x12, we'll take 5 number 10s. 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5. Perfect. So again, starting tool. Right. So like I say, this one, presentation isn't insanely accurate. You don't need to be bob on with this. So literally all I do is a baby bulk. So number 10. Number 10. Now with this one as well, with a bulk and 2 drop, as you saw, I kind of left a small gap in between each stop. With this one, doesn't matter at all. Literally have them right next to each other if you want. So they're so compact, because this is all about getting the bait down there as quick as possible. Doesn't matter about falling through the water or anything. You want your bait on the deck where that fish is going to be grubbing around, because that's the only way to catch them. So literally, let me pull this down just so it's in shot. 4x12 edge and a little mini bulk of number 10s. That's 5 number 10s literally on the knot. I always use the 4x12 on this, because where I fish, the margins, yeah, probably deepest around about 4 foot, which this is absolutely perfect for that. I'll probably fish it between 2.5 and 4 foot pretty much. So there we go, an absolutely perfect margin rig. Just a little mini bulk, gets you straight down there where you need to be. I hope these 2 rigs have helped you out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you want to chat or anything like that, or if you have any recommendations for future videos. I'll see you all next time.